Hey everybody, so we are back. We have filled both signature piles. They're both filled with goodies, nice and thick, ready to go in a book. But we have to make our book. So what I wanted to do today was basically construct my books. I'm kind of all over the place this morning, but I have a thought. So, okay. So one at a time, shell. Working with the red cover. Basically, we're gonna put this in here and kind of get an idea. I don't know, you can't really tell it, but it gator mouths up this way. Like this is the bigger section than this section. So I kind of want to work with this side, if that makes any sense. I want to see how thick this side is, not necessarily the other side, because and we're like 2.5, and that's just sitting there. That's not squishing it down or anything like that. It's right at 2.5. So if I make a 2.5 spine, we should fit in there nicely because this will come up a little bit. So I'm thinking that's what we'll do for this guy. Now, I've got some cardboard from an old notepad, and we are going to start out by cutting a 3.5 chunk. If I can figure out my brain on this. Sorry, the way I was sitting was cramping my leg. 3.5. I flipped the blade last night on my knife, so we're nice and sharp today. 1, 2, 3.5. Line this up and hope we don't move. Press down kind of hard and it just pops right off. That is not right. 2.5. 2.5 is what we said, right? Shell. 2.5 is what we said. Yep, 2.5. Oh, yeah. Get it together. Get it together. We're making a journal. 2.5. By the way, I don't edit my stuff. What you see is what you get. I'm going to put this aside because a lot of times I do 1-inch spines. So 2.5 is what we're working with. Now, I want the measurements of our book here. Don't laugh at my measurements. We measure by eyeball and sheer luck. That's how we measure over here. I spent this morning, first off, there's laundry in the background, if you hear that clanking around. But I spent this morning trying to kind of wrap my brain around my covers. Because, I hadn't decided on what I wanted on the cover yet. So I worked on that this morning. And it's funny because I've kind of got, so the theme for both these journals is French Farm. And I kind of am going with French and farm, if that makes any sense. One of them will be more lacy French, One of them will be more farm quilting, things like that nature. So it's just the way the cookie crumbled. Now, I am feeling like this is not going to be quite thick enough, so I'm going to cut me another one. And sorry for the reach over. I kind of cleaned up a little bit last night. Kind of, not really. So my desk is kind of cleaned up. Kind of, not really. Okay, so I've got 2 pieces of cardboard now. It gives me a thicker substrate. And what I'm going to do is just kind of glue these together. They're going to be all taped up anyways, but need to clean the lid. My glue lid. Okay. Even this up, squish this out. And you know, while I'm cutting and gluing, I might as well figure out this for the other journal as well. I have a feeling it's going to be about the same size. Oop, avalanche. Maybe thicker, maybe a little bit thicker. Maybe a lot thicker. Yeah, we're right at 3 inches on this guy. So, okay. I thought he felt a little thicker. Why did I put that there? This is here. 3 inches on this guy. Okay. If I had measured them both and kind of done them both at the same time, per se, could have salvaged that 3-inch piece I cut first. Oh well. Sometimes that's how we do things. Backwards. Actually, I'm just gonna... Excuse me, I have the hiccups. Okay. I think we're the same size as the other one, but okay. That should be the other one. So let's glue them together. Again, not going for perfection. We're just making them a little thicker. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. Okay, back to the business of things. So here's how I do a spine. I think there's several different ways to do this, but this is the way I do it. First off, you want your raw edge, not your good edge. So we're going to line us up. Of course, you saw me cut the cardboard the same size. Going to give us a little room for bendy, you know. And then we're going to tape us with, this is sports tape, cloth tape, whatever you want to call it. I need to work at a crooked line. You can get it at the dollar store. You can get it at Walmart. Again, it's just regular athletic tape. And we make sure we're lined up, and we got us a little hair of a bend. And all this is going to be covered. That's one thing you got to think about when you're using this, is if I wasn't going to cover anything on my cover, I wouldn't want to do that. So but I'm going to cover it all, even this right here. I'll cover this part. This is my inside cover, and you'll be able to see that tape, so I'll cover that as well. I'm going to put you down here. And then we'll go like this. Give us a little titch of a bendy spot. And actually, I think, just for extra security, I'm going to run a line down this. Again, I'm going to cover it, so just for extra stability, I'm going to bend it so it will kind of train it to do what I want to do. I could have left a bigger space, probably, but since it's cloth tape, again, you can kind of train it to do what you need it to do. And I'm sure you can do this with like a big masking tape or even duct tape, you know, any kind of good sturdy, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to bump you there. Good sturdy tape, but I use the athletic tape just for stability and the ability to bend, I guess. It's a little tight, but that's okay. I don't want it to be all over the place, so there we have our cover in place. So let me see if everybody fits. Everybody fits nicely. It's kind of raised a little bit, but that's okay. It gives us room to wiggle a little bit. Yep. So inside cover, I think I've decided on the red one to do these guys. I've been so back and forth. Decisions. As opposed to this, to my squares. I'm going to do the squares on the other one, I think. So I think that's where I'm leaning towards. I would pick the dry one. Let's see here if I can get one that's got some juice in it. I don't know how much this is gonna stick. stick, because this is a, remember, this is a calendar pocket. So it's, it didn't want to stick at all. There we go. It's a calendar pocket, so it's slicky, coated. Maybe if we tap it and leave it to dry a bit. Okay, yeah, I think that's what I want to do with these on the inside. And I'll put some fabric, probably this, because I have so much of it. Let's go ahead and cut it up. It's a pillowcase. And did I tear it big enough? No. That's okay. Again, it's plenty big enough. Tore crooked, that's what the problem is. Okay. So let's do this. Now, did we get a big enough strip? We did. So, since we can see through this, I'm going to put another strip of tape here, just to kind of tone down that dark. Wrap it around and keep going, just to for a cohesiveness. Okay, what do we got going on here? We kissed each other and stuck together. Fold you here. Fold you there. Okay. Now, back to this. Yeah, see, that covers up that brown line there. Okie dokie. Nice. Problem with using random materials is you have to know what they're made out of and what kind of thread business you're going to get into. Okay, that's enough. You know, some fabrics tear pretty quick and pretty easy without much fuss and muss, but some like to linger around with the threads, like this one. Okay, stop that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just put some glue down here. If I can find my, there it is. Yeah, I'm going to clean my lid out today because being all glumpy. I'm going to spread this out. And anytime you're dealing with fabric, you for sure want to spread out your glue, because if I lay this fabric down, I'll have like a glue stain wherever the glue is. So you want to spread it out so it kind of, if it changes the color of your fabric, which it sometimes almost always does, it is an even, got an even thing going on. Now I'm putting the glue all the way up to the edge of this tape because I want to make sure it's all covered. And I'm making sure my glue is to the edge of this tape here. Again, because I want to make sure this is covered. But also, I don't, if the fabric goes beyond this, I don't care if it's a little fluffy or loose or whatever. I just need this tape covered. One thing about the cloth tape is it tends to soak up the glue real quick. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. That's why I keep adding glue, because this little cloth tape is just drinking it up. Which is okay. I just need a real thin layer of glue. This is a thin fabric, so not going to take much to glue it down. See, my fabric hangs over the edge quite a bit, but I just want to make sure that the white tape is covered, basically. I don't care if it fluffs like this. Just as long as my tape is covered. And it's not that big of a deal if it, you know, since it's white, and it's not like it's the gray duct tape or anything like that. So that's our center. And again, I really do think I want to do this for these insides. If that's the case, I may have to clean out my glue earlier than planned. And I'm obviously using Weld Bond because this is thick, thicker paper, shiny paper, slicky paper. Going all the way to the edge with it. I want to get a good seal. Pressing down hard. I need to come through and clean my edges so I'm not sealing this little pocket shut where the glue squirted out. And so you can see I got gold on my hands where the ink has brushed off because it's slick paper and the ink didn't really want to stay. Okay, let that continue to dry. Move on to the next one. I think it's fun to use, of course, I think it's fun to use kits. Again, I'm using the French Farm kit from Bontik Vintage Design. His information's below, along with a coupon code. But I also love using random junk. Seeing how I can transform stuff to go in a journal. Again, this is a pocket that a calendar, an envelope, big envelope that a calendar came in. And I chopped the rooster out of it and kept the flowers just because I think they're so pretty. I probably should have waited to do this last, but that's okay. Okay, I'm going to set that one aside. We're going to move to this guy. And I think same kind of situation. We're going to tape it down. Excuse me. So I guess this video, we'll just work on the inside covers. Because I think the cover is going to be a little intense. Got a couple of ideas. I'm going to give this one a little bit more space since that other one was so tight. I didn't really get over very well on that, so we're going to stretch it out a little bit more on this one. And fold it over. Yeah, so I gave it a little bit more room, so it is a little a little more flimsy. So there you go. That's how to do that. If you want it tighter, a tighter crease, I guess, is what you'd call it. And you put your spine cardboard a little closer. If you want to give it a little bit more room, you give it a little bit more room. And I'm going to go ahead, since we had to do it on the other one, I'm going to go ahead and tape down the center. Just to cover up our brown. I'm doing the same center fabric in this one. That pillowcase fabric. And plan accordingly to get it all covered, but that's okay. Actually, let's do this. Let's fold you over and flip you over. Yeah. If I had planned accordingly, I would have moved these two side pieces in a little bit more so we don't have such a gap of brown. But again, I'm not too worried about it because it will be covered up. But we'll have a line. You'll be able to see that line. Whew, it's thick. But that's okay. Now, tear us another fabric. I don't think this fabric piece is going to be big enough. Nope. Back to the pillowcase. We're We're going to go wide with this one this time. Just to make sure we're covered. Okay. Let me see if this will cover it. This pillowcase is crooked, so in case y'all haven't figured that one out, it tears crooked. Okay, we got plenty of overlap here. I'm going to try to even this up a little bit. Look at all them threads. We got us a perfect little piece. Okay, back to the drawing board with this glue that's taken forever. It's being real slow today. Oh, look at it, just squeezed right out. I guess whatever was clogging it cleaned out. Again, it looks like a lot of glue, but we are working on a cloth tape, so it's soaking it right up. Again, going right to the edge of the tape to cover it up. Get it as even as possible. Pat it down. My hands are grungy with glue and glitter, and or not glitter, but gold ink. I'm trying not to dirty up my fabric with that. Again, we flap over a little bit, and I'm okay with that. Now, the inside cover of this one, I think I'm going to use these guys as pockets. I just got to decide which ones I want to use. Neither of them match. This one is bigger than everybody else. Maybe we'll go that route. Yeah, I think that'll work. And what I'm going to do with these is just glue them down as a pocket. 3 sides, glue them down. Nothing fancy. Kind of sad I only ended up using 2 of these throughout these journals, because I really thought I'd use more, but they just didn't. And I don't really need any more bulk, so I don't need to really add them to the journal. You know, so there is that. Okay, I'm gonna let this guy dry now. So let me see where I'm at on time. Right at 35 minutes. So I think what we'll do now is I'm going to cut tear 2 different strips for the outside cover, and of this stuff. And my thought process is mainly just to cover this up. It's not going to be the finish of the spine, I don't think, but I just feel like I need to cover this up. So look how crooked that is torn. I just feel like I need to cover it up. I think I need to trim this first and then tear. This will just give us a base layer to cover up, because I've got some kind of quote-unquote funky ideas to do with the covers of each of these. Not really funky, just there's a lot going on with them. Going to be a lot going on, per se. Maybe, if it all works out. Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I just glued those 2 inside pockets down, my plan may not work as I had initially thought. So we'll be back to the drawing board before I get on camera with you guys. Figure out what I'm doing first before I try to show you what I'm doing. Again, I'm not stressing too much about the glue amount on this, because I just need it to stay down as our base layer. Cover up our tape and all that. So, yep. And glue squirted out when I fold that. That's okay. That is a-okay. Okay. So that's that. Set this aside to dry. And we'll do the same with this guy. Give him an outside. Look. I'm bubbling up because I folded it. But that's okay, because it's going to initially be folded anyways. So, again, a lot of things you really don't have to stress about, because they work themselves out in the end. This one, I think... Okay, let me tell you what I'm doing with this guy. My thought process is somewhere to do this image on the front. And this is my tie. And then, I'm going to do, I have this piece of lace. Then I'm going to wrap around. So I have lace and a photo. Somehow, we'll have to trim our photo down a little bit. And then this is our tie. So I think I need to do this black on this spine. It'll be under the lace. So we'll wait on the spine of this one. Back to this idea is here's what I'm working with this. I have this quilt square. It's a pretty big quilt square. And I'm thinking I want to do this on the cover. So if I do that, I either have to fold this over and it'll fold into this quilt piece on both sides, which may not be too bad. I actually could just go ahead and fold it like that instead of trying to trim it. But anyways, that would be the cover. And as an added bonus, I have this little quilted old vintage heart that I thought about putting on the front cover. We'll flip this around. I don't like that pink on the front cover. Anywho, this will be our front cover. And I'm thinking about this heart. I haven't decided on the heart yet. And as far as the tie, I'll tie it with this seam binding stuff. Real neutral color. Nothing fancy on that one. That's where I'm kind of thinking and going. So, with that, again, I didn't really even need this, but, you know, we got it anyways. I could put... I'm just piecing stuff together here to kind of tone down that yellow back there. And it would be kind of like a sheet and a quilt. Again, I haven't decided on that. Hadn't decided yet. So that's where I'm at with that for the covers. I'll close this up now. I am going to kind of figure out this guy with all this lace and all that. And because again, he'll be kind of layered, figuring out this image and all that. So I'm going to work on this one a little bit off camera, and then I'll be back to kind of show you what I've decided. And by then I'll have decided on the other one as well. And we can piece them together and get our covers finished in the next episode. So again, sorry this has taken me so long to kind of draw this out, but they're two pretty big journals. And, you know, we're working on 2 at a time here. So it is what it is. I appreciate if you're still hanging in here with me and watching. And we'll continue on until both of these are done. We're getting close. So we'll see you soon. Bye for now.